Hello again. Every now and then a book comes along, and I just go, right, stop everything. I have to talk about this one because I loved it so much. And this book, the one I'm going to talk to you about today, is very much up there with my faves for 2024 so far. It is called The River We Remember by William Kent Krueger, and it comes to us from Simon and Schuster. And I fell into this book. And in a way, I kind of really didn't fall out of it again. I carry it around, like it's sort of a shawl. I'm sort of in that universe that he has created. Krueger, just to recap for you, wrote another one similar in this vein called This Tender Land, which I know I raved about earlier. He is no stranger to writing, having many, many titles. Most mystery, and like This Tender Land, The River We Remember mixes mystery with human drama. He really invites us into a whole community with all its anguishes and backstories and secrets and sort of the rippling impact of one event that then sort of brings a lot of things to the surface. We're set in a little town called Jewel, Minnesota in 1958, where the sheriff, Brody Dern, is a war veteran, and he's not the only one. We're in that post-war sort of period where wars keep going on, but these are mostly returned veterans who are dealing with or not their traumas. A body is found in the Alabaster River belonging to a local, very wealthy landowner called Jimmy Quinn. And Jimmy Quinn is not much loved in the community, if loved at all. Though one never knows about those things, but and it's subtly done. Everything Krueger does is nuanced and cleverly drawn. The problem with with Jimmy Quinn's body in the river is that we can't work out whether it's suicide, there is a gun, or if it's murder, or what the hell it is. So Dern has to find out everything he can about this. And one of the instant sort of knee-jerk reactions is that Quinn has a lot of laborers working for him. And one of those is Noah Bluestone, who's an American Indian, also a war veteran. And he has a Japanese wife that he's brought back from Nagasaki. And obviously all the fingers point to there'd been an argument, and he's going to be set up as the murderer or the fall guy. And he won't defend himself. He won't say anything because. And therefore, onto this scene, in the attempt to unravel everything that's happened, all sorts of other characters come into play. We're going to look at Quinn's family, at his children, at his wives, because he's on his first wife had died and there's a second wife. Who are the children who will inherit? Is this important? We'll be looking at Noah's wife, Kyoko, and what her expectation is from her husband. You'll be looking at deputy sheriffs and their own failings. There's Brody himself is in an unhealthy relationship, and when I say unhealthy, I mean really illicit with someone. And you kind of know you don't know where that's going to go, but he also is very friendly and quite interested in Angie, who runs the local cafe Roadhouse. And Angie is a single mom with a young son, Scott, who makes his timeline makes this into also a coming-of-age novel, because the things he sees and does and his part to play in eventually unraveling all the mysteries is very important. Look, this is a huge, sprawling, complex, layered novel. I mean, layered in that there are so many different narratives. Because what's Angie's backstory? Who's she? Who is she? How did she come here? Who's the chef who came here? Who's the lawyer who's going to defend Noah Bluestone? How are we going to get to the truth if people are going to be quiet, or if people are going to make up their minds, all already without justice being done, or being, without the proper procedures. Everything seems to be dealt with, and this is what makes William Kent Krueger's novel so very interesting, is that we've thrown into the mix all of these kind of big issues. So we've got issues of misogyny and rape and violence, and we have obviously racism towards both the Native Americans and who would have been World War II enemies. So towards the Japanese as a people. You've got personal vendetta. You've got also this, which I think is vital to understanding and loving this book, is this conversation about the land, because it's called The River We Remember. And of course, one of the things that's interesting is this Alabaster River is the site for everybody in this village to have, it's the place where you come fishing because you have to get away from it all, or it's where you've had your love tryst, or it's where you maybe, had you saved someone from drowning, or I don't want to give too much away, but many things happen on the banks of a river, and it could be a sacred site for Native Americans. It could have its mythologies, but it's also about the land. It's about Jimmy Quinn's family having come over from Ireland and having decided to make land productive, and land grabbing. It's about greed, but all of those sort of, are possible sort of dynamic sort of points to let Krueger get at all of the positive things about humans, about how community works, how compassion is knee-jerk, how justice will prevail if everybody's given fair chances. It's how, if we listen and are prepared to communicate, that our story may not seem to be so shocking to someone who we're afraid to tell it to. So it's about connection and compassion and communication, how traumas can be held on to for so long, and how you have to kind of get rupture cycles. It's sort of a golden book. It had that lovely hum of life going on, but for a while we're allowed sort of, plunge into this whole community, and every single character in it seemed to be walking and talking alongside of the reader. It was visceral. Hats off, because it's a book to go back to. It's a community to go back to, and I do highly, 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 highly recommend it. That's it. See you next time.